Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Phil, it's good to be back. We had a week off from our podcast, and we apologize to everybody last Friday. You did not get to hear our smiling voices because, well, I guess you had one of what do they call that? A storm,
but it was bombing cyclone,
bomb cyclone, river, atmospheric river or something you had up there in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, so obviously our coast is the Pacific Ocean, and they had what's called a bomb cyclone right off of our coast. And I got to tell you the truth, bro, I don't know much about them, but what it would be similar to is somewhat to a hurricane. Mm-hmm. It builds up speed and temperature generally from warmer waters, and then it affects the coast. The reason why we didn't have a podcast is because I didn't have any power. And I think that's a good thing for us to talk about because there are people who I thought were prepared that weren't. And there are people who I went to check on and they were like, hey, this happens all the time.
Right. And for those around the country, you guys in the Pacific Northwest, I mean, I grew up in New England. We had nor'easters, which is pretty much the most similar thing, same kind of concept, and obviously then people down in the the southeast have hurricanes and same kind of effect. You get wind, you get water, and as we all know, particularly this year in the southeast, water is usually the worst element. But certainly, you guys experienced power outage, which is interesting because. Let's talk about that for a second because it's interesting. Everybody reacts differently, I think, and let's put this in an overlanding perspective.
Yes.
Everybody acts differently when adverse conditions happen, right?
Yes.
So they have plan A, right? Let's lay it out this way. You have plan A and you're planning on doing X, Y, and Z, and then something happens.
So let's isolate that part right there. That's where the diversion starts right there. Mm-hmm. It's the way you intake information. And some people, if anything goes awry from what their agenda or itinerary was, what they had planned, they're automatically in a panic mode.
That's right. Yep. And I equate that to the same thing when you are traveling or camping or off-road somewhere where you get a flat tire or you get stuck or, whatever, somebody gets injured. And that wasn't part of the original plan. So it's interesting that you bring that up because, preparedness is something that I think you and I talk about here on the podcast a lot. Mm-hmm. And in a little bit, we're going to talk about some Christmas holiday present ideas for you guys out there in the overland market. And you're going to see the skew from me has to do with being prepared, not so much with the gadgets and the gadgets. And we talk about that a lot. So okay, what happened, Phil? You lost power. How long did you lose power for?
Was it 4 days?
That's a long time.
That's a long time. That is a long time. Losing power for 4 days means you don't have heat if it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
You can generally get away in the summertime, open a window.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have some way to provide yourself heat, you might as well be outside. That's one thing. Something that I discovered is most people don't have a good flashlight.
Yeah. And that goes to what I'm saying. The most common items, and it's interesting because I'm looking over here at my Christmas wish list, I guess, for people out there. A flashlight is probably like, there is nothing more frustrating than not being able to see. And obviously we all take power even here on the road in my truck, you just take power for granted. Like I can just, you just saw me. If you guys are watching this, I just walked away and turned on the light here because I felt like it was kind of dim. So you just take those kinds of things for granted. But if it's at nighttime, or quite frankly, during the day and you're inside and you can't see what you're doing, it becomes super frustrating, right? So it's sometimes very simple things. What's a flashlight going to cost you? Not that much. How is it that difficult to have something like that ready?
And no. Hopefully you have a flashlight, but there's strategies to having a flashlight. What kind of flashlight? Like for instance, that's this isn't here for the podcast. This flashlight is always right there. Yeah. This is not a good flashlight for what we're discussing. No USB port. The battery isn't replaceable. You have to buy a battery from the company. It has a proprietary cord for it to charge. So don't think about these things at the last minute, because what I saw is a lot of people, they have disposable income and they were just like, well, they say this is happening in a few days. I'll just go to Home Depot and buy this and that and the other. You still got to know what to buy, because
and by the way, that's why whenever there's a storm coming, there's a line at Home Depot, there's a line at the grocery store. Everybody's going to buy milk, bread, and eggs, flashlights, generators. I mean, it's mind-boggling what happens. And you're like, well, did any of these people think about anything in advance ever?
So if you're going to get only one flashlight, my recommendation is, if it has a proprietary battery, the day you buy that flashlight, you should buy at least 2 more batteries and charge them right up. If they're
I'm going to take it a step farther, Phil. We were talking about this here in camp, I think yesterday or something. I'm so OCD about stuff like this. I don't even like buying anything anymore if it doesn't have a USB-C cord. Like if it's not a USB-C charger, I'm out. Like you tell me all about flashlights with proprietary cords or batteries that I got to do this or that. Forget it. I'm out. Way more complicated. There's nothing more. It's like with camera gear. There's nothing more frustrating than buying something, made out of, I'm going to call it Chinesium. I'll be nice. That comes with one of those. I don't even know what they're called anymore. The micro USB or what was the other one? It was like kind of square, and forget it. If anybody's out there manufacturing something like that, they deserve to be boycotted, in my opinion. Forget about that bullshit. This is a reason why, Apple got sued in Europe for even the Lightning charger, because it was different and it was proprietary and everybody had to go get it in order to, that used to frustrate the crap out of me. And it was the main reason why I switched to, say, when I bought the iPhone, I think 15 was the first one that had the USB-C. And now, I just went away for the weekend on my motorcycle, and I could take one cord.
Yes.
To charge my iPhone, which, by the way, Phil, I have a flashlight that I took with a USB-C charger, and my camera gear, my GoPros and my Insta360, all those things are running off of USB-C. So I take it to another level. Like, I don't even want to talk to you if it's got some other kind of cord or some other way of doing it. Like, I had a bunch of flashlights here that were, quite frankly, decent flashlights. In fact, I won't even name the brand, but I just ditched them. I was like, this is stupid. I don't even want this thing anymore. So, anyways, as always, we're on a tangent, but that's what we do here.
And I also came to realize most people in my neighborhood, they have no way to keep warm. You kind of just stereotype people. I assumed that most people in this neighborhood had at least a sleeping bag.
Like a sleeping bag, right?
No, that's not true. When you're around like-minded people, you start thinking everybody has sleeping bags.
Right, right. And contrary to popular belief, because, everybody knows I prefer warm weather. Here I am down in Mexico all winter, and, I don't even like the sight of snow anymore. But I'm smart enough to know that and having traveled in the Arctic Circle and in Iceland and in various other cold weather climates, if you have the correct clothing on, you're never cold, right? So it has to do with, once again, we're talking about preparedness. It has to do with that, because if you're out, I remember being up in Tuktoyaktuk in northern Canada, and it was, going down to like negative 40 degrees. I had a Canada Goose jacket that you could put on that if it's, let's say it's negative 15 Fahrenheit or negative 20 out, you can't even wear the damn thing. You're sweating to death. So
that's true.
I could stand in that jacket up there in the freezing cold and I'm perfectly warm and content. Yeah, look, we sent astronauts to space, right? It's cold as hell up there, and they're able to survive in a spacesuit. So it has to do with what you're wearing. And like you said, it's hard to believe that somebody doesn't have some kind of warm gear, if not a sleeping bag or something else inside their house, or in our case, in your truck. So what happens if you get stuck? Plan A was to go on a route, and, everybody, gets a little spoiled. They're in their Jeep. They've got heat, and they've got AC, and, you're going along. Well, let's say you have a breakdown and the truck's not running, and you got stuck. You happen to get stuck at 7,500, 9,000 feet, calling in Colorado, going over a pass, and you had to stay the night. Do you have the gear that you're not going to sit there all night shivering and be pissed off and be freezing to death? It's the same. It's just the same scenario to me, it's the same scenario as having a storm in your house, right?
I agree. But Mike, I live in an area where it extends beyond just the trip. What you just described applies to me living at home. I don't have to be at 9,000 feet. Like just last week, if I had heaters. Yep. I had a heater for more than one room. So I was cool.
Would you have little buddy heaters?
One of them was a buddy heater. Yep. One of them, I don't know the name of it. You've probably seen them in outdoor restaurants. It's like a tall thing.
Oh, yeah.
Got one of those, and I moved it around from room to room. So we had 3 different heaters.
Yep.
But the point is, we had heaters.
Right.
Most people don't have heaters. And if we didn't have the heaters, we do have a fireplace. But that would have made us have to be in the room where the fireplace is all the time, because neither one of them heats up the whole house. We live in a townhouse.
And as somebody that grew up in New England in old colonial houses, let me tell you, a fireplace, contrary to popular belief, sucks more heat out of the damn house than puts into the house. So you literally got to be sitting in the fire just about.
Yeah, that's how our fireplace is. Sometimes the wind coming down the chimney through offsets the fire.
Yep. So you guys got hit by a cold, right?
Because it was cold. It was raining.
Yep, cold, raining, windy,
and
no power. Which is, by the way, for people that aren't aware of this, you're in what I would consider to be a major metropolitan area that has what I would call grid preference, right? Like usually that you're in an area where they were going to get power restored faster than, let's say, if I was in backwoods Montana.
Well, we live outside of Seattle. Seattle is the priority. The highway is the second priority. And then it's like the city next to Seattle, then the city, and it works like that.
Yep.
So they didn't know what I'm about to get upset, bro. It shouldn't have took 4 days to get no power, man. We lose power every year for something.
Yeah.
Every year we either have a big rain or a big snow, and there's a day or two where we don't have power. So this isn't like something new that they weren't expecting. Not only we knew it a week in advance that we were going to have this cyclone. So I don't know why it takes 4 days to turn power back on. I did see
welcome
video.
To America's power grid. It ain't that good.
Not at all. And you were saying like a metropolitan area. I don't really actually live in the metropolitan area. I don't live in Seattle. I can 10 minutes, I can be deep in the forest, I can go 10 minutes that way and I can be in the city. So I'm like, I'm right in that border. And I discuss this with my wife all the time. Where we live can trick you into believing that you are safer and in more of a city than you are.
Yeah.
Our infrastructure is not like a Seattle.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who have moved from other places that live here, who originally lived in Seattle, who live out here, and they were all unprepared for what happened.
So the bottom line is they're in their homes, they're cold, they don't have any light. They're probably, let's talk about food. I mean, you lose your power for 4 days, becomes a food issue as well, certainly from a refrigeration standpoint.
Oh, my friend is pissed. He had a whole freezer he had just filled up with food.
Yep.
And when I say just, it was, a few months ago, but still, he had a big ass freezer in his garage full of meat.
I know where I grew up, we always had New England being as weather unpredictable as probably as it gets. I never had a house really that didn't have a generator. So I always had some kind of system, and it wasn't necessarily a full house generator. I had, it depended on what house I was in at the time, but I've had, where you have it, you can generate enough power to say, plug your refrigerator in or, a light bulb. So you could sit in the kitchen with the refrigerator going and a light. But, those are things that you, like you said, you need to think about in advance. You can't be standing in line at Home Depot with the wind blowing outside and think that they're going to have one.
And again, like I was saying with the flashlights, you don't want to wait to the last minute also because you want to know what kind of generator to get. Do you get a gas generator? Do you get an electric generator? Mm-hmm. And what is your reason for it? Like, I have all electric generators because I just don't know how to do it, but it's made to clip into the fuse box. So I could literally repower the house.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough about it to do it. I'm just saying that with the electric one, there's the possibility of doing that, and you can't do it with the gas one. So you need to know why you need the generator and what you're going to do with the generator.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I hear you saying is, and it's similar to going camping for the weekend, you need a plan, and you need to run through scenarios, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and be prepared for, let's put it this way. The more you're prepared for what you didn't want to do, the better off you're going to be. It's just the way it is.
I remember years ago, we were living somewhere else. I bought these Goal Zero solar flashlights.
Yep.
And I keep them in the windows. My wife used to make fun of me about them things. Now she depends on them. She immediately, when it gets dark, she's headed to the window looking for one of them flashlights.
Yep. I'll tell you what, here in my truck, I got a flashlight right here to the side of me in the kitchen. And then I've got one in the garage and I've got one back by my bed. So in the event that, who knows what could happen and I needed to be able to see or get out or do something, I've got that ready to go. It's kind of the same premise like you'd have with like fire extinguishers or what I always laugh where you got, this, big truck set up and you've got one fire extinguisher on board and it's like in the cab or something. And, then a lot of good that's going to do you like while you're laying in bed.
And that's another thing that I witnessed, Mike. Some people had bought flashlights. They bought a big box of batteries for it. Mm-hmm. But the batteries look like somebody poured salt into the box because I don't know what it's called, but
when they start, they sit around too long, they corrode.
Yeah, it looked like somebody literally poured salt inside their box. Mm-hmm. So he had the flashlight, he had the batteries, but you have to, especially your prepared stuff, you rotate it out, you pay attention to expiration dates. That includes your first aid kit. Bro, nobody had a first aid kit I talked to. I'm sure somebody in my neighborhood does, but nobody that I'm friends with had a first aid kit. And I'm like, wow, you should have had that for just day to day.
That was the best segue that you ever did here by accident here on the podcast, Phil, because talking about Christmas presents, Well, so okay, let me give you this story, guys. So Phil comes to me like 2 weeks ago and says, "Hey, we're going to do the next podcast. We're going to do a segment on holiday gift giving. It's that time of the year. I mean, I don't know if you guys are. You guys are in the States, so this is how unbeknownst to what the heck's going on in the world that I am down here in Mexico. Somebody told me last night that Thursday is Thanksgiving. I didn't even know that. So I mean, that's how out of touch we are down here. But so for you listening in America, Thanksgiving is this week. Christmas is like a month away, right? It's not even a month anymore. Less than
29 days.
And so we are into the holiday gift giving part of our podcast discussion here, and it's funny because Phil comes and says, "Well, let's come up with an episode on that." So I said, "Okay." And he gave me very nicely. He gave me, I don't know, 4 or 5 categories of price ranges. And then I realized that my philosophy on life does not correlate with this exercise. Because I go, damn it, I can't think of anything. And he's like, what do you mean, dude? What do you mean you can't? I go, well, so here's my thing. We'll get to some of the list, but it's funny. We're talking about, you segued in with the medical kit. So our list is for your Overlanders, right? These are Overland holiday gift giving ideas. And, contrary to what you're probably thinking that we're going to talk about, for me anyways, number one on my list I come up with was the MyMedic, a med kit for your vehicle. Like, I like to focus on things that you actually potentially could use that could solve your issues with what we're talking about here: plan B, plan C, plan D, when something happens. So I know you were expecting that I was going to tell you that you needed the newest, shiniest $5,000 shovel, but I'm not saying that. So anyways, medical, it mind boggles me that people do not have that both in their home or on every single camping overland trip that you're ever going to take. And by the way, one is not necessarily enough.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Mike, because when I hurt my hip, I fractured my hip, I took a pill. I took a ibuprofen right then immediately, and it allowed me to get on my bike and ride home with an injured hip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I rode the Baja Divide last year and the year before, I mean, absolutely, that's one of our top priorities to have on board the bike. Even though, look, when you're a bicycle, weight is a concern for sure, but you better give up something that's less important for your medical kit. So,
Mike, look, this is nothing. This is nothing. This is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to have this here. But this is like a homemade first aid kit.
Mm-hmm.
It's inside. I just ordered from MyMedic. Costs about $25, and it's called the Hiker Med Pack. And they're like $25, and I have one of these in all kind of bags, all kind of backpacks and stuff. So no matter where I am, I've got at least some antiseptics, some bandages, a tourniquet, some basic medicines.
Yep, like you said, you got ibuprofen in there. You've got a lot of them have like what do you call it? Treatment or for getting stuff in your eye.
All that's in here.
All that's in there. And the kit I was recommending was the MyMedic MyFac large one. It's $215 at bare minimum. That's what you should have on board your truck at bare minimum.
I 1000% agree. This is kind of a pet peeve, and it bothers me. I know people, when you add up the tally on all the money they've invested in their vehicle and their trips and everything, they're in the $250,000 region of cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ask them, do they have a Band-Aid? They're struggling to find a Band-Aid because they ain't got a decent first aid kit. They may have one, but it'll be something that they like went to Walmart and they went into like the deodorant aisle and bought one of those, the little, you know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. True story. I ran into a guy on my way down here. I'm not going to mention anything in case I run into him again too much, but he had, let's just say he had a very, very set up truck. And when I mean set up truck, I mean probably more roto packs and max tracks on this thing than I've ever seen on any other vehicle. He had 20 or so Baja design lights on the front, and that's a total. It's probably it's more than $10,000 worth of lights, off-road lights for sure. And well, anyways, the long and short of the story is super set up with every gadget and gizmo you've ever seen out of the Overland world was on this thing. And he came over and knocked on my door asking for a Band-Aid. I mean, crazy. You cannot make this shit up. And I looked at him like I was looking at, some kind of alien creature standing at my door. I was like, well, you don't have a Band-Aid?
And a lot of, maybe people don't buy the first aid kits that we recommend because they'll have everything in them that they need. But if you decide to put one together, please put a tourniquet in there. Mm-hmm. That seems to be something a lot of people forget. And a tourniquet is probably one of the things, especially if you're out and about, trees could fall, there could be injuries from vehicles. Mm-hmm. A tourniquet could come in handy real fast for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm. I mean, cuts are probably the number one injury.
I agree.
And I know we push the My Medic stuff because it's really good. What I like about their kits is that they are the bags that they come in are super rugged, really easy to attach to things. I actually have 3 on board my truck. I've got one in the cab, I've got one in the habitat here, and I've got one in the garage. And they hook on things and whatnot. But like, the second piece of this, which is probably even more important, probably than actually buying it, is open it up when you get it and look through it and take everything out of it and identify what the stuff is. Because look, I'm no doctor, so there's stuff I pulled out of. I'm not going to lie to you. I pull stuff out of that kit. I have no idea what some of it is. Like literally, I have just no idea. I've never had that much training. So, but and then you make a decision as to if you think it's necessary for that particular location in your vehicle or if it's necessary for look, if you're never going to figure out how to use it, then you have to weigh whether it's necessary to carry. And what are the odds that somebody that you're going to run into or have an encounter with that it's going to be able to. So remember, it's not just you that may be using your kit. Let's say you badly injure yourself. You may have friends with you or shit. It might happen on the side of the road. Somebody comes along. If you've got that kit, you don't know that there's some, nurse or doctor or somebody that comes along that doesn't have equipment with them. They can use the equipment that you don't necessarily know how to use. So, but you need to be familiar with what the hell is in the damn bag. At least know the name of it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, because some of these are really complicated. Like I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that there's the $2,000 kit from My Medic. I think you could perform brain surgery with.
Oh yeah, I have to read every time the little package for the ones that goes into your nose for your airways versus the one that goes in because it looks so similar.
It looks similar. Yep. So,
and I had to learn how to use their tourniquets. They use the most modern day tourniquets, and I was still using the old fashioned ones, but they're much easier once you learn how to use them.
That's right. So bottom line is, so if you're asking me what the best gift that you could give to your significant other, friend, Overland buddy, start with the medical kit for their vehicle. That's probably the best gift you could give anybody. And we won't belabor this point anymore, but
I just want to add
we're in agreement.
Yeah, since we're talking in this direction. Hold on a second. We were talking about the first aid kit. I forgot what I was going to say, Mike. A call came in. It threw me completely off.
We have a law on this podcast. We're only allowed to forget what we're doing 3 times on each episode. So there's one. Well, let me talk about this. So it's interesting. So as I said, I had a really difficult time making this list, but the things that I do have on it, I'm looking over, all have something to do with, let's call it safety, security, med, right? So right after that medical kit, I'm going to give you 3 more point blank ones that you should have with you. Life straw, water filter. A life straw water filter is $23.97, I think, on Amazon. I wrote down.
Sometimes they're even cheaper than that,
or even cheaper than that. Yeah, and that's the real life straw brand. There's other brands, but you're a human being. You cannot live without water. Period. End of story. That's just a fact. So if you can't get fresh water that is drinkable, you're in big trouble if you run out. So that's a big one. I have which I have on board here on my truck as well. And then I've got a Wayland fire starter kit. Talked about this earlier. Heat, temperature, cold, $30, I think. Fire starter kit. It's got multiple ways of starting a fire because, as you know, if you've ever camped as much as I have, there's conditions. There's coldness, there's dampness, there's wind, there's all sorts of things that prevent you from getting fires going. So that is another safety thing. And then I got one more.
Another thing that you don't wait to the last minute. Open that up and learn how to start a fire. Especially living here in the Pacific Northwest. If you learn how to start a fire on the East Coast, it does not mean you know how to start a fire on the Yes.
Yep.
Totally different.
And if you expect that you're going to get out there and successfully rub 2 sticks together, like what's his name on a deserted island with the coconuts, don't even try that because you will get just your hands are going to be bloody. The other, it's funny because I didn't realize this until I started looking at this list. And another one that's maybe not so much safety. Well, it could be depending on where you are. Thermacell mosquito repeller. If you don't have one of these things, you are don't go to Alaska, don't go to Canada, don't go to Central America. I mean, I can tell you lots of places don't go. You best be staying in a desert with no bugs. For cheap, $32 and have the cartridges, the refills for it, and know how to use it. But
I came to those late in the game. I thought they were a gimmick. Everybody I know has them. And then everybody kept saying, I can't live without this. I can't live without this. And I finally got one and I'm completely sold. They actually work.
In Alaska, there were only 2 things
that really work.
Yeah, you're right. Because I found in Alaska that the only 2 things that work was the Thermacell and 100% DEET, which is like, if you've ever used 100% DEET, you know 2 things. One, it smells like shit. It looks like motor oil. And it probably, if it doesn't cause cancer within 15 minutes, it's probably going to cause it at some point. It's not good for you.
I agree, bro. Because you can't put it on like plastic or something.
No, it eats right through it. Yeah, you have to. I know. But, I mean, that's how bad it is.
What else you got, Mike?
Well, those are my scanning my list here. Those are what I would say are those last 3 things I gave you are $50 or less, basically. The MyMedic thing is like $215. So those are fairly inexpensive things. And you notice how I didn't talk about
what I'm about to talk about right now?
Vanity stuff. Well, I don't know what you're about to talk about, but I didn't mention a bunch of things that potentially might make your truck look better. Or that you're probably going to strap on and never use. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Am I allowed to say this? I guess I'm allowed to say whatever. It's our podcast.
Please say it.
98% of every roto pack I've ever seen mounted to a vehicle has never been removed. I'm going to tell you that right now. Never been removed. Likely has never even carried liquid.
Bro. I agree 110%. rotor packs are actually a pain in the ass in my opinion.
Oh, come on. Let's just be honest. They're a pain in the fucking ass. Look, I have one on the back of my truck, which, by the way, I use. I used it the other day because I carry it's, they're first of all, they're microscopic amounts of whatever you've got in it. Like if you're being realistic, you would need to carry 40 of them to like actually, solve your own problem. If it had to do for my truck, I'd probably have to have a tanker, but I keep it for the motorcycle. So it's an extra, whatever that size is. I don't, it's less than 5 gallons. Maybe it's four something. And but for me, it fills up my tank almost 1.5 times on the motorcycle. So it gets me an additional range on my motorcycle, about 350, maybe even almost 400 miles. So that's significant. So I have it, but I got to tell you what, I took it off the other day. I mean, first of all, the locking mechanism, and then the turning the thing. Like, first thing you need to do is go to college and get a doctorate degree in Rotopax locking turning mechanisms, because it's counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense to just about anybody, or maybe it's just me. And then the problem is that you can't. I don't know if anybody out there figured this out. You can't fill the thing. You can fill it 3/4 of the way at most. And I would say if you want to be safe, it's more like 2/3 of the way, because any more than that, the thing expands. And mine looks like a bloated whale that died three years ago that floated to shore. It's like all puffed out, because of course I made the mistake of putting too much fuel in it. And then, inevitably it's on the outside of your truck, which I may highly recommend not to put it inside something. It should be on the outside, but still, it's going to sit in the sun one way or another, right? So, yeah. And then, do you want me to keep bitching? I mean, that's what if you've ever taken the funnel thing out, first of all, you got to figure out how to use that little thing that's like got little teeth on it, and you got to push it down and turn it, and then it gets stuck and you can't get it off. And then then you got to flip it over, and then you take the little sleeve thing and stick the nozzle through it and then screw it back on. Now, by the time you've done all of this, you are 100% coated with fuel. Let's just be clear on this. The only Rotopax that's probably not dangerous to use is one that has water in it. But
well, Mike, you can also get fuel if you don't seat it properly. And I mean seat it properly, it's going to leak.
It leaks.
You end up screwing it on, screwing it off, screwing it on, screwing it off.
Yep.
And the only way it's not leaking is to mount it and wait a few minutes to see if it leaks.
Yep.
The other thing I hate is you mentioned how it expands. I've gone from like different elevations, and I had it suck in too.
Oh yeah, I was about to say I had that happen one time too. Sucked in, right? And then, by the way, when you actually go to use it, so now once you've gone through the process and you have gas all over your hands, and you've got it tightened on there, and then you go and you tilt it up to dump it into, say, your motorcycle or whatever, and then it somehow leaks more. I don't care what you've done and how tight you've screwed that thing on, it leaks. It just does. So now you've leaked it, and for the next 50 miles of your bike ride, you are smelling gas fumes. So I guess you can tell I'm not. By the way, you can go to Tractor Supply and buy a fuel can. You can buy, even one of those, the bigger, I forget how many gallons they are, but the bigger ones that they use, say for like the Baja 1000 race, the big tanks, or you can go and get an old school quote jerry can.
Mike,
every one of those has worked better than the Rotopax, but I'm
trying to get my official Overland card, and
that's right.
They clearly state you must have at least 2 Rotopax.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And different colors, but they've come out with new colors now. Which, by the way, I read some thing online somewhere the other day on a Facebook group or something in the Overland community world, and people were arguing about the color and whether or not it was legal to put the fluid in that color, because it's not.
It's illegal.
Guys, you guys are overthinking this whole situation, though.
So, Mike, I'm gonna give a couple of more under 50 real quick, real simple.
Give us some easy ones.
Well, people see me, if you watch the podcast, if you've ever hung out with me camping or anything, you've seen this in my hand a million times. And it's a Brew Trek coffee mug. And
I got a couple here too. I'm looking, but
I've got a zillion stuff from Yeti because I knew about Yeti before I knew this company. And the reason why I prefer this particular cup over Yeti's cup is for this very simple thing right here.
Yep.
When I close it, this is my floor.
Yep.
I just dropped it. It's full of coffee.
Yep. It doesn't leak.
And I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing I like about them, they typically, the BrewTech ones, they fit in more cup holders.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Yeti ones are fatter at the bottom.
And I think they look nicer. As soon as I started using the BrewTech stuff, people had questions about every product I have for them. They make a point of making their stuff look cool.
Yep.
And then there's another cup. This is called their camp cup. Now, I learned about these camp cups because I kept seeing other people around campfires that I was at. You know, we drinking shots and stuff like this. And
no, say it isn't so.
and they had, and I thought these were just great. So Jerry is the first person who introduced me to.
I'm about to say that cup. Phil, if you're listening to us driving around, he's holding a cup that's like I don't know, maybe 2.5 inches tall, and it's like a. I'm going to tell you what it is. It is a perfect old fashioned cup. You could put a nice square ice cube in that thing, and makes a great old fashioned, and that's what I use mine for.
And originally they just came like this, but if you buy them now, they come with a cup. Because people use these out around campfires. So you don't want stuff, getting in your cup while you're at the campfire, ashes and stuff like that.
Yep.
And if somebody bothers to go on my social media, anytime I'm drinking, anytime I'm celebrating, anytime I'm giving a toast, I'm taking it out of one of these. And every time I've had about maybe 35 to 40 of these cups. And the reason is, you've witnessed this, Mike.
You leave it somewhere.
Well, I've had that happen too, but the majority of the time, people like the cup. And I say, okay, keep it. And then the next time I see them, they have the original cup I have, and then they have a couple of more.
I guess I think I got one of yours in here right now, a nice orange one, but I use it a lot. Thanks for the cup, Phil.
So that's my 2 under 50 is a nice cup.
I got one more too. While we're talking about cups and stuff, AeroPress coffee maker. So AeroPress makes a coffee maker that's $30, under $30. And I know a lot of you guys enjoy your coffee out in camp or on the road. That's kind of a cool little gadget. Makes a good cup of coffee. So if you're looking for under $50 items for your Overland buddy, coffee is always a good thing.
So what you got for $100 or less, Mike?
I got nothing. I can't think of anything in the $100 or less. All
right, I got you.
Okay.
That was the one.
Let's see if you come up with anything I agree with,
I could give you 50 things for $100. Even though $100 doesn't go as far as it used to.
I'm about to say, you and I at McDonald's is $100.
So
if we get apple pies,
I'm sticking with Brew Trek real quick. So I got the coffee cup.
Oh shit!
This is the Brew Trek Base Camp French Press. You've seen me use these. This is a brand spanking new one because just like the cups, people see them and I give them away. They fall in love with these things. There's
the fact that everything you got is orange.
Oh, they come in all kind of colors.
Oh, right? I know they do, but you got all orange right now in your hand.
I personally own a stainless steel one, all stainless. I have a black one. I have a blue one. Yeah, I love these. This is I have one of these in my kitchen. The stainless steel one is in my kitchen. But the reason you're like, what's the special deal? This is an overland thing. Why would you want to take this overlanding with you?
Mhm.
Well, most people agree that using a coffee press is probably one of the top 2-3 ways of making your coffee. So,
I would say it is the top way, period. With one exception, and that would be if you're spoiled like me and actually have an espresso machine here in your kitchen where you can just plunk the pot in and make it.
So anyway, Mike.
But I agree with you.
The reason why I like this particular coffee press, because I'm sure everybody's going, I've got a coffee press, or what's so special about that coffee press? Well, most people's coffee presses, the issue that they have and the reason they don't like it is because when they push down on the press and then they pour their coffee into their cup, they'll have little grinds from the coffee in their coffee. The way they designed this plunger, it keeps all of the grinds locked down into the bottom, airtight. I can pour this. I get no grinds throughout the entire pour. This particular one will hold about 5 to 6 cups of coffee. All 6 cups of coffee will be pure.
Grindless.
Yes.
And I might add that obviously, unlike like say, a bunch of like a Bodum or something is not breakable. So it's good for the road.
And just like the cup, it clicks closed. I could drop this and nothing's going to happen to it.
Oh, I might have to steal one of those from you.
Bro, I got a box of them. No problem. So like I said, I like it for all those reasons. But when you put all of these things together, I've got the cool coffee cup. I've got the cool cup for around base camp. I can serve coffee to people. And I've got everybody pretends, but people want their stuff to look nice. This is going to look nice at your camp. People are going to like it.
Phil now looks good in camp. Now what he's going to have to invent is how little mounts so you can strap those to outside your truck. So when you drive around and you go pull into a gas station, we know that you have those things, because when they're inside, you can't see them.
So the next thing I got, Mike, for $100, I don't have one specific item.
Okay.
I wrote down Midland GXT GMRS radios.
Yeah.
They're all good. They all work.
Yeah. And that's communication. We talked about this on a prior podcast. And after a while, you get tired of it. I carry enough stuff on my truck now that, because inevitably, number one, you need to be able to communicate with other people that you're caravanning with. But on top of that, it seems like half the people don't have this stuff. So if you're listening out there, pick up some of your own so we don't have to keep loaning them to you all the time. I found I got to carry about 6 of them now to have enough to go around for everybody.
And Mike, you've witnessed this. I have handed out so many walkie-talkies, and I love doing it because I know I'm giving people an introduction into a good product. Because every time I hand somebody one of these walkie-talkies, next time I see them, they got more walkie-talkies.
Yep.
It's good for if you're a family man and you're just taking your kids camping and they want to go for a hike. Here, take this one. If you're spotting somebody, it's much better to be using the walkie-talkie than trying to yell. Yeah.
Way, way, way better and safer.
Mm-hmm.
And to go back to my cord phobia, they now are USB-C to charge.
Yes. So I highly recommend that just in general. You should have good communications.
Yes.
And one of the questions I get all the time is ham, CB, or GMRS. If I can only pick one, my answer is GMRS. I know some people will argue that the ham, somebody will say, hey, I can, you can, with repeaters, I can talk to somebody in the Netherlands or whatever. Well, I just need to talk to the people in my caravan and hopefully somebody in the area. If something goes wrong, and I need it to be crystal clear. Also, the license is only $15. It's for like 8 to 10 years or something like that.
Yeah. And the ham license is much more challenging to get, obviously.
And restrictive.
Yep.
So, and the last thing, which is probably should be the first thing, is if you're a person who's part of multiple teams that go out and off-road and travel and stuff like that, you'll find that the most common denominator is going to be GMRS.
Yep.
So
definitely.
You just kind of need it.
Yep. 100% agree.
Another thing that I have, you've seen me cooking on my Scotto. The spatulas I use, they're made out of titanium with micarta handles. And that company is called Dryad Cookery. You can get a Dryad Cookery spatula set, which is a large spatula for your cast iron and for your Scotto. And then you have a smaller one. So if you have an adventure Scotto, you can use it for an adventure Scotto and for bowls and stuff like that. Like I said, they're titanium. They have micarta handles. This is a one-time buy, and it looks good hanging off of your Scotto or whatever cooking mechanism that you use. Couple of other things that I want to show, Mike. Our buddy over at Overland Gear Guy. Now, I want to be clear. This is my homie. I love his products and I love him.
And we like hanging with him.
Right. So just, disclaimer. But I love this product, and I think what I'm about to show people, they're going to love. I have more than one version of bags that I hook on my front seat across the headrest. And I love them. I've got a couple of them that I have from Blue Ridge Overland Gear. But the thing about this one is it's not just a bag. Inside, they've put a liner, a garbage liner, a plastic garbage can.
Garbage can.
Right. So it holds its shape, which is one thing. You don't have to use it for garbage. It being encapsulated like this, you can keep things that you want to keep conveniently for you.
Well,
I've seen someone not even use it for garbage. They have it on the back of their seat. And this is where they keep all their down stuff, like down jacket, hat, and stuff like that. They want to just pull it out real quick and use it.
I think that'd be a great place to keep like potato chips and crackers and cookies and shit that you don't want to get all broken up too, because it's being protected by, you know how you do. You put that dry goods stuff in a soft bag or something, and it gets mushed.
And it's supposed to be its first purpose is to be a garbage can. And the reason why I like this hard garbage can in the bag is I can take this out and I can really clean it out really well. So there's no odor, especially if you're using it inside your vehicle. So I don't remember what the exact price is anymore, Mike, but it's definitely under $100 for sure. And it's going to be worth it. This will be something that you'll use in your van, your truck, your whatever it is, over and over again. You'll probably take it for granted using it all the time and not even think about how valuable it is because you use it all the time. Even people who have Scottos and they have stoves, something that I find in common with a lot of overland travelers and vehicle dependent travelers is no matter what kind of cooking system they have, they usually almost always still have a jet boil because it's nothing like being able to pull that jet boil out and a minute and a half later have hot water. Or you just might want to make.
It's almost an amazing thing. My jet boil, every time you get to the boil part, you're shocked at how fast that just happened.
So this is another thing from Overland Gear Guy. This is a jet boil bag, and it can be used for other things. You can remove this and use it for other things. But anyway, it's a 2-compartment bag, and you can put the jet boil on one side, and you can put fuel on the other, and it'll hold 2 of these. So I keep this in my vehicle, and I just have it in a corner. And whenever I want, I don't have to look for it. It's all right there. And sometimes when you're making your coffee, you don't want to make it right there, your vehicle. Maybe you've gone somewhere scenic and you're like, hey guys, let's walk over there to the water and have coffee over there. I just grab my bag and wherever we go, I got it. And there's room for you to put a small amount of coffee in here. There's room in here for you to put other little amenities that you want to take with you when you're using your jet boil. So, and this is dirt cheap too. Overland Gear Guy, just go to their website and check them out. They've got a lot of stuff. Next time I see him, I'm going to raid his stuff and get a lot more stuff. Because I him, Overland Gear Guy, and Blue Ridge Overland, most people would probably be like, well, aren't they like competitors? Well, they might be. I don't know.
Yeah, they both got their own individual stuff though. That's
but I like both of them.
Yeah.
He has stuff that they don't have. They have stuff that he don't have, or maybe I just prefer one of the other. So I don't rate one higher or the other, but I like both of this stuff. So I just want people to know more about this Overland Gear Guy, because like I said, he's a friend of ours. We like him. He makes good products. So I kind of felt like I had to talk about him.
Yep.
What else?
He's got a cool new Ineos Grenadier.
He's got a nice.
Yep.
Well, he said he was going to do
I want to talk about, because you just rolled me right into the next one here, because you know I would be remiss if I didn't tell everybody to go out and buy a Tembo Toscado, because you hear about me talking about it on a daily basis. If you want no cleanup, or I should say easy cleanup, no pots and pans, for $435. I think they got a Black Friday special going on.
Mike, you skipped the $250.
No, I did it before. My Medic.
Oh, okay, then I need to mention one other thing before we move on then.
Okay.
Something they were too heavy to bring down here and whatever, but I just got some Austin Foundry cast iron skillets. You've probably seen them.
See, that's something that there's zero chance I'm carrying.
Well, a majority of people have a cast iron skillet. And there are people like me who are into cast, because I don't even need these.
I love cast iron, but I can't do it full time on the road. Can't justify the weight.
I get it. So a one-off, if you just want a one-off good 12-inch or 10-inch skillet to keep in your rig, to stick in a flame or cook it on a stove, I'm recommending the Austin Foundry cast iron skillet. And if you're wondering why, it's a pretty looking cast iron skillet. It's a heavy cast iron skillet, but it's not heavy like, oh God, I don't want to carry this. It's heavy like, oh, when this thing gets some heat, it's going to hold it. So,
which is what's important in cast iron cooking in the first place.
And if go on Instagram and check out Austin Foundry. AUSTIN Foundry, FOUNDRY. Just check them out, and I think you'll like their cast iron. I don't know these guys. I don't know these guys, but they make good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, if you haven't figured it out by now, if you're at an event and you see Phil parked around, he is the guy that you want to hang out with at nighttime with all these cool cooking gadgets and things in his camp, because he's not exaggerating. He's got all the cool toys.
Yeah, please do, because I have had people like, do you really carry all that stuff? And
yes, he does.
I get their cynicism, because it's crazy. I'm being silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am constantly testing cast iron skillets and different cookware and all kind of. I like toys. You know that about me, Mike. I just like toys. Sure.
Yeah, and that's why. So I started talking about the Scottle, and that is the closest thing that I can find that is to cast iron. It's not cast iron. It's steel, but it's the closest thing I could find to something that you can cook similarly with that has that element of sort of, being baked in and broken in and seasoned, if you will, without the weight, because now you're taking, so you take one cast iron pan, the scuttle probably in total weighs about that. And then I don't need any pots and pans. So that's
and Mike, I just want to be clear about something to our metallurgists out there. It isn't cast iron, but it's carbon steel,
correct,
which is the closest thing to cast iron.
Yep.
They cook the same. And when I say that, they cook the same, I mean the same kind of procedure.
Correct.
They retain heat well, obviously not as well as cast iron. So you're not getting some sub lesser than thing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. But from a, if you're looking for what I would call the one-stop shopping cookware, that's what I like to go with, because I can do everything. We were joking around in camp here the other night. It's like anything from pizzas to breakfast to hamburgers to pasta to rice to steamed vegetables. You can do all of that. So
it's the cure for loneliness to me.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about that with we could be somewhere and it's there's 4 rigs over there, there's 2 rigs over there, people are all over the place, but I want everybody to come hang out with me.
That's
Pull out your scuttle, throw something on there. Everybody's around the scuttle. So that's one of the things I like about it is I know if I cook, I'm not isolated. I'll have people all around the scuttle talking to me.
By definition too, because it's circular, right? So if you have an old school, whatever I used to have, Coleman stove or the what was the other burner thing I had, where it's faced and then it's got a front to it, it's a one directional thing. So that's one of the things I think that makes the scuttle sort of a community event. And we joke about it, but it's the truth. Like we're here in camp and we do it on at least 3 or 4 nights a week. We're cooking out on that thing.
Yeah. But it's true, Mike, because when I'm using my regular stove, I could have like $60 steaks cooking, and people will walk past and they'll be like, "Oh, you're cooking steaks." I'll be back when they're done.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm cooking on the scuttle, people, "What are you cooking?" "Oh, we're cooking bratwurst," and they stay right there and they talk.
Yep. Yeah. So, I've heard people say, well, it's a little on the expensive side. You're talking, I think the base one here is $435. You could figure it's around $500 when it comes with all the, what I would call, quote, some of the necessary items like the lid and the tables and the, whatever the stuff that goes along with it. But I'll tell you what.
People itemize the cost totally wrong, in my opinion.
Agreed, because what you would say, well, how much is one cast iron, a good cast iron pan, right? So you start adding up that kind of stuff, and you'll quickly find that the scuttle really isn't that expensive.
And a table.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they say, I could just buy a stove. You buy a decent stove, you got to buy a decent table. You right back at that price. Something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you're right back at that number.
Exactly. So anyways, and then I got one more in this category and I don't have it. I wanted to throw this one out though, because I attended Overland Expo East with my Land Rover and a rooftop tent. And unlike my big truck that I live in here, I did not have a shower with me. And I got to tell you that this shower, the Kakadu, right? Is that how we pronounce that? Kakadu? Kakadu? I don't know. Kakadu?
Cockadoo Outback or something like that.
Yeah, it's $399, and they had them set up at Expo East, and there was maybe 6 of them set up. And I got to tell you, my buddy Carl bought one, and it's a self-contained unit, right? So it's got the propane thing built, where you put the green thing in. It's got the heater, it's got the pump, it's a one-stop shopping shower for the road. And I got to tell you, the pressure was good. The temperature was good. I took a shower every morning with this thing. I don't own one yet, but I'm going to tell you what, if I have to go do a trip, not with my current Overland truck and I got to take the Land Rover or something else out, I'm getting one of those.
Well, Mike, you're talking about traveling. That's the subject, but that would be great to have in the house with your preparedness kit that I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were people boiling water,
Yep.
washing out of a pan.
Yep. Yep.
It would be wonderful to take a shower.
And how many times have we said this on the podcast? Your trip is only going to be as good as your comfort level is. So something to think about. That's it's like I said, it's $400.
And we talked about the MyMedic, MyFact.
Mm-hmm.
There's a backpack that's the next level up.
Yep.
That would be in this $500 range, and that's my recommendation.
Yep.
If
Agreed.
you are going with a team of people or a family, if you're head of household taking a family on a trip, that's the one I would recommend.
Yep. In fact, they've got ones that go all the way up to $2,000+. So there's some pretty extensive kits. So if you are somebody that is, more medically experienced than we are, by all means, don't
let those prices scare you guys. If you're going to invest money, it should be in your safety and your health.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you brag about you spent the money.
Yes, exactly. Because you might need the MyMedic kit after you cut yourself and blow up your roto packs while you're trying to get it open.
So, Mike, I got a question before I recommend this, because I don't want you to say you had a bad experience. I gave you the Midland MXT575 VP4 with the whip and micromobile two-way radio.
Yep.
You've installed it.
Yep. Worked great all the way down here.
Okay. Would you recommend it to be on our list?
Sure.
All righty. So, guys, I recommend getting a micro mobile station. And this is the top of the line when you don't have to get that when they have 3 different versions. Each version has a different power level. And even the least expensive one is a great base station. So you don't have to get this top of the line one. But you should have a micro mobile, in my opinion, in your rig as a base station or on your trailer. And then you should have a couple of handhelds, minimum, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mike. This is the last category for our list.
Okay.
Which is one item for between $1,000 to $1,500.
Yep.
So I cheated.
Oh, good. What'd you get?
I have 3 items, but they all work in tandem together. So I'm considering them one time. And this isn't just something I'm recommending. I have purchased my 3rd of these. It's sitting in the garage right now. When I finish this last rig that I'm working on, this goes in it. And so this is my recommendation. It would be the AT Overland AT combo slide, which is a combination fridge and stove slide. And the reason why I like this particular one is, first of all, because it's not just the refrigerator, but it makes use of the space under it, and you're using it for your stove.
Yeah. Yep.
The second part of my is the AT Overland JK stove, which fits perfectly in this combo slide, and the dials come out on the side. So you're able to adjust without bumping up against things. And the connection is in a place that's conducive to the design of the slide. And the last part of this is the AT Overland 5-pound propane cylinder bracket. So you got to have propane. You should have it outside your vehicle. They have the perfect propane bracket for that. So the combo slide is $799. The AT Overland JK stove is $528, and the propane cylinder bracket is $109, and that brings you to $1,436. So that brings us right under that $1,500.
Perfect.
So I think everything the only frivolous things that are on our list, Mike, someone may say is the cast iron skillet. or the cups and the coffee maker. But
like I said, you still got to be comfortable though. If you're not enjoying yourself, what's the point of doing it?
And I'm sure I'm not the only person. I've said this a million times. The whole theme behind my travel is I would love to be here and have a cup of coffee in the morning. That's literally how I think about locations. Is that a place I want to wake up and have? So coffee is like directly connected to my travel. There's no escaping it.
You're preaching to the choir here.
There's something peaceful about being somewhere remote and beautiful and a fresh cup of coffee, a good, fresh cup of coffee. You got anything else, Mike?
No, I mean, I think we did pretty good for today's podcast. We made it through without.
I thought you were going to recommend a rooftop tent.
I had one. Yeah, I got that. I mean, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I was pleasantly shocked after living in this thing for a week. I got the CVT rooftop tent. It's currently at $14.99, and which, by the way, they're running huge specials on these things. This thing was well over $2,000, and it was ginormous. Like I could literally sleep 5 people in there, and I'm not exaggerating. It's not when you say like it's a 2-person tent and it fits potentially you on a good day, and a flashlight. I mean, this really fit some space. It looked good on the top of my Land Rover. If you want to check it out online, I got pictures somewhere. But that CVT tent, I got no complaints about it. Rugged, looked nice. And the only complaint I have is that it's a rooftop tent, and I live a little bit more luxurious than that nowadays. And unfortunately, it takes to set the tent up. You can set it up in about a minute and a half. It takes you about 15 minutes to get the cover on it, but it's always that's always been my complaint about rooftop tents. But
so I don't have that brand, but I have the same exact tent. And the question that I have gotten forever is, Phil, why don't you get a hard covered tent? And why don't you get this? Now it's the room that you have.
Space.
Yeah, it's like a house on top of my vehicle.
And the problem is that every single one of the hard shell tents, even including the ones that go straight up. Maggiolino makes one that goes straight up. But most of them go up in a V formation, call it. And I got to tell you that the when you lay down in one of those, where your feet are, if you put your toes straight up, you're gonna start smacking them. So what I found nice about the one that folds out, I'll call it the old school style that flip out with the ladder. They're huge, and you could legitimately from any angle inside that tent, you could sit there and on your knees or whatever and get your clothes on. You could get dressed in the thing,
right.
You know what I mean? Without smacking your head into a bunch of bars and a bunch of other shit. So
you can do work. Mike, I've edited videos that we've done and gotten them out.
Yep. I was up in that rooftop tent because I had my old Land Rover with me, and everything, it was me, my bag of clothes, my Go Power power pack, so I can plug my phone in, and my watch and all that stuff, and my camera gear. My camera gear was up there. I literally had everything up there, and still you could have fit 3 people.
Mm-hmm. And my thought process was like, for the pop-up hard shell tents, I do like them. They're cool.
Oh, they're easier to use.
But they're good in a perfect scenario. But anybody who's done traveling, you have times where a snow pops up in July. You have monsoon rains that weren't predicted or something like that, where you're stuck in your tent for a day or maybe 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be in the little triangle thing.
Yep. Well, the other thing is, I got to tell you, the ones that fold out sideways, or like I'm talking about, when you have inclement weather, they stay drier because the overhangs on the awnings part of it, reach out farther. So when it's rainy and windy and stuff, they actually get less wet. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. I have nothing to say about them. Bam.
Yeah, there you go. So I was just impressed. Well, okay, so that's it. That is our holiday gift giving guide in a nutshell. And I want to celebrate the fact that we made it through an entire Random Waypoints podcast without talking about politics. So,
and the killer is Mike. I got so much to say.
I know, but there's always next week. So much.
Any last words, Mike?
No. Glad you have your power back. Sorry about missing last week's podcast, and we'll see everybody next Friday.
All right, guys. You know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully we'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.